The most anticipated Friday night match so far this season. Been waiting a long time for it. And Jones gets the first touch to Hayes out of the centre. Geary's low ball, but ill-directed. Ablett got on the end of the Milburn handball.
Holding, advantage, play on.
And now Scarlett with that advantage to half forward. And Gilbert, he takes a lot of marks. Not all of them contested, though. That was a good one.
Particularly over Bartel. He's really good overhead, Bartel. Gilbert, I reckon, is almost the defender of the year.
Yep.
He's playing in all shapes and sizes. He attacks, he defends. Really good player now.
Push out. Push out.
It's going to be really early for both sides to handle the ball clearly. We saw the mark from Gilbert. Keep the ball off the deck given the conditions to get the scoreboard pressure early.
Gardner short to Montagna. So Montagna there kicks to the heart of the centre square. It was a dangerous kick. Picked off by Milburn against McWalter. Enright on the end of it from Mackie. Enright's probing kick. Good Mark Mooney. That's a terrific start. He just ripped around, disorientated the Blake. And then Mooney loads it up, kicks to about 15 metres, and Gardner takes another mark.
Ball mustn't be wet yet because there's about 6 sticky marks being taken already.
Let him go.
Gardner was such a focus, wasn't he, in that round 14 last year with those 4 goals and the match-winning goal in the end.
Right on it.
He's done well. He's played 11 games so far this season. Gilbert very short to Gwilt. Some danger here. Varco clever. Ablett with a chance here. Hooking it back. Well, the right bloke, you'd reckon, with the ball in his hands, and he gets the first goal.
Just a crucial turnover there from Gwilt. Gary Ablett obviously so dangerous around that part of the ground, could snap the ball from 40 metres out. Important from the Geelong point of view at the moment that the good players have got their hands on the ball. The players linking up from the back line, but that's vintage Ablett there, Lee.
That was just a wet weather mistake, wasn't it, really? Tried to bring back pocket inside, and Gwilt just did. Everyone else had handled the slippery ball, but not Gwilt. Great finish by Ablett.
Gary Ablett obviously handles the ball well in all conditions. Just the costly turnover, drop mark, difficult chance, but you get the feeling in games like this, in conditions like this, you've got to make the most of it early.
So the second clearance for the Saints, but again they are unable to get it inside the 50. Del Santo quickly to McWalter, off the side though. Scarlett and Kozutsky, Kozzy over the top. McWalter in hard. Mackie and Del Santo toe poke for the Saints going the wrong way. And then Ling. That's a typical Ling kick, isn't it? Just getting the ball forward. Burns his handball. Geary should have got a free kick. Fisher gets it back to Goddard. He has to hack it actually forward. Scarlett drops it. Not easy tonight. McWalter, it ricochets off Stanley. Gardner's handball misses Kozutsky. Going to be a bit of that tonight. Farron Ray kept his feet. That's important. Good kick at the back almost.
The arm, Josh Hunt. You held him by the arm. You locked his arm in, Stephen.
Thought that kick almost had enough to get over the top there, and Milne was going to be away, but not to be. Hunt to Ablett. Important Jones doesn't overplay it. He did well, actually, building the ball forward. Enright's toe poke forward. Ray beaten to the footy that time by Wojcinski. Geelong on the bottom.
Just down in the...
I think Johnson's going to make sure that he's aggressive back to Baker.
Yep. So Blake over the top of Gardner.
High tackle.
Also, Ling has actually taken Lenny Hayes. So that's always one decision. How do you use your main shutdown player? And Hayes is the one being given the pleasure of his company.
Do you think, Lee, because of the conditions, they see Hayes being even more important tonight?
No, I don't think so. I think that it's just Del Santo, they've done the job, but Hayes obviously cut him up early in the grand final. Maybe that's the reason.
Long kick by the man in question, Hayes. Milne was at the back. Of course, they sent Bartel, didn't they?
Yep.
To Hayes on that occasion in that grand final. A famous move, as it turned out. Milburn's kick, and Gilbert a third early mark for him. Again, danger in this kick. Quick handball by Schneider. Good tackle again. Coming from Mooney. Varco back to Selwood. And then Selwood's kick inside the 50. Stokes. Certain goal coming up, you would think. Well, he had a man short in Burns and decided not to go there.
Yeah, it was a bad decision in the end, wasn't it? He was certainly a long way clear, Burns.
Both of the Geelong shots on goal have come from turnovers. They commit their opposition to turnovers, but score the most heavily from turnovers as a result. So you've really got to handle the ball well, and especially given these conditions.
And both occasions have come back through the corridor, haven't they, the Saints? Attempted to. So Dal Santo in the back half. To Blake. He's got some time. Kajitsky and Scarlett. Enright, Schneider down low, Montagna. Good-looking kick, but just too short in the end for Stanley. Hunt, Taylor doing the job on Stanley. Mackie wanted a quick release. Milburn, who runs off so well, doesn't he? 33 years of age, still going strong. Beautiful kick. And Johnson inside the 50. On the left. Stokes the target. Wasn't a great kick. Johnson almost got the footy back. Ray's handball went nowhere. Gilbert read it best. Gardner and Gilbert, gee, they've been good, the two GGs, haven't they, early? And then Gilbert's kicked to about 60 metres. Kajitsky getting back. Hunt showed a bit of guts. Back to Scarlett. And Scarlett wide to Milburn. Sits and waits. And then Milburn kicking towards Ling. Here are Ling and Hayes together. Gilbert, been terrific. Back to Hayes. So the Saints getting a fair bit of footy. Milne to Schneider. Two guys they expect to kick goals. Schneider's got a vacant goal square. It's going and going. Well done. All the way.
Yeah, it was that Hayes turnover on the wing was critical, wasn't it? It was really just a one-on-one match-up between Ling and Hayes. When the ball got clear again, he does run it out, Gilbert, the 1-2.
It's a contest here. Lenny Hayes just puts enough pressure on to get the ball through and follows up a massive work rate, Lenny Hayes. Really important that they execute the skills well early. Just on the St Kilda matchups in their front half, Gamble's gone to Schneider. Gamble spent a lot of time playing in the VFL this year as a defender, so come in for James Kelly. Scarlett obviously to Kajitsky.
Hayes getting a lot of the footy early. Dal Santo. She didn't go far, did it? So Dal Santo, the cute kick out wide, marked by Ray. A lot of disposals for the Saints early. Fisher supplying the run. McWalter.
They'll be very keen to lower their eyes and actually hit up that short target going forward.
Uses Gwilt. He's going to load up. It's low and long to full forward. Kajitsky outnumbered. He had Lonergan and Scarlett back there and Milne sliding in.
It's going to be important for St Kilda to possess the ball. You don't want to over-possess it, but I guess when you're playing against a side like Geelong, one of your indicators will be denying Geelong use of the ball, and they're certainly doing that in the early stages of this game.
39 to 28 disposal. Saints way early. Gardner over the top. Ablett, Mackie, Milne. Ablett ridden into the ground. Just saw Ross Lyon a moment ago. Lee, you've told me in the past you feel like he prepares so well for the opposition.
Very much so, yeah. I think they, well, I mean, all the clubs do, but I think more than most, they really like to set themselves for the opposition.
And they do have a lot of role players, don't they?
Yep.
Kick by Montagna. Kajitsky almost a toe poke, not quite. And then Milburn belting it away. You feel like the Cats are much more flexible. You feel like the Saints have got a half a dozen blokes who can play really one role each week.
The language coming out of St Kilda in all good clubs. We just see the Milne-Johnson match up here. Might be something in that. But good clubs have role players, and you know your role and you know your teammates' role.
Bartel winning the clearance and then having a second crack.
One of the other things, though, when the ball gets really wet and slippery, and the players have handled it remarkably well in this first part of the game, so a lot of the plans, a bit of good luck helps a lot.
Brett Johnson mentioned Dal Santo before the game. He's getting a lot of ball in this first quarter. Bang and crash, and a couple of Cats almost went down. Milburn did, in fact. Hunt's toe poke good. Stokes, who missed the grand final last year, back to Hunt, and then Hunt back to Scarlett. To Gamble. Gamble a late inclusion for Kelly. Dempster a late inclusion for Eddie. Hunt's kick, a little bit of danger. Well done, Geary. Montagna, Dal Santo yet again. Maybe they need to put a tag on him.
It was interesting. They tried to come back into the centre square, as they often do, Geelong, but St Kilda had the players there to intercept.
So Jack Stephen, who is an inclusion tonight, back to Del Santo to fall forward and off long.
It will be interesting to watch how the Del Santo matchup progresses through the game. Cameron Ling has an extraordinary record on him, but obviously not going to his direct opponent in Del Santo at the early stages. So we'll watch that as that unfolds tonight.
So St Kilda inside that forward 50 again. McAvoy doing the ruck work. Kaczynski trying to get a little handball out.
Footy. Thank you. Makes sense.
Get the feeling this is going to be the game. These sort of contests, if you can sneak a goal out, just dope poke one through, get a snap over, get on the scoreboard. Take your chances.
It's a good tap by West. Enright's kick not good. Tom, does it remind you at all of what happened in September last year, the way the game's been played?
Well, even when I touched down today into Melbourne, it had that eerie feel. Obviously, the game's at night time, but the conditions are very similar, obviously.
So Gwilt's kick right to the goal square. Almost got over the back of Hunt. Kaczynski. Goddard, that's a brilliant pickup in these conditions. Back to Milne. Milne hooks back, a lot of catch there. And Milburn to Selwood.
Yours.
To J-Pop. Up the ground. What a revelation he's been. 28, almost 29 in his first season. Mark drop. West couldn't quite get hold of it. Ray, Ablett to Taylor Hunt. Gamble's handball's a beauty in front of Enright. He didn't have to break stride. Enright's little kick wide. Burns, so important in the link up in the chain. Back to Bartel, and that's a wonderful kick inside 50 to Stokes.
Great vision from midfield too, coming forward to work out. There was the temptation to drive it in long. Decided that wasn't a good position. And Bartel does use the ball really well.
Stokes coming into the night had not missed going for goal. He was 8-0. He missed his first shot, but he's 2 goals without a miss from set shots so far this year. So he's missed both these shots so far tonight. And Fisher picked it off. Goddard sweeps the handball to Ray. To Blake. How hard is it to keep your nerve as a defender on nights like tonight? To Baker, you were nodding, Tom. Wasn't that long ago.
No. The ball use is critical, absolutely critical. The really good players shine out in these sorts of conditions. Really been encouraged by the way St Kilda have been inclined to use the middle of the ground.
So Peake asked to play on a couple of times. To centre wing, McAvoy front spot. 3 tools there. Well done, McWalter. He's got a bit of it early. Ball ricochets out. Bartel down low. Montaigne's pick-up was brilliant. And the kick, he hacked it forward. And Stephen again in the right spot at the right time.
Well, Melbourne always tries to read the kick, and really it was just a sloppy forward kick, and Stevens had the 5 metres gap.
Well, Milburn's been really important so far. He's already taken 2 or 3 uncontested intercept-type marks. Really important that St Kilda utilise his direct opponent on this occasion, young Jack Stephen.
It's his first game at the MCG ever. He's taken 2 marks inside 50. He's the only Saint to have done that so far tonight. And he's just missed. So scores are level. Might not be the last time we say that tonight. I hope it's not the last time we say it tonight. Brad Johnson said before the game he thought 10 goals might be a winning score.
Yeah. Okay, that's the time. Move it on. Great.
So Taylor.
That's the mark.
Milburn a target. And Dempster building it away. So Dempster in tonight. So Dempster and Schneider, both premiership players at Sydney. And Geelong have got 14 players. Well, Kelly's out. So 13 players that played in both the premierships, 07 and 09.
Lenny Hayes being held by the arm.
Holding Lenny Hayes. Out of zone. Stay there.
So Hayes, plenty of it early. Hayes and Del Santo have been prominent.
Always when that free kick is paid, Cameron Ling now will have to be just that little bit more, much more careful when he's been pinged once for holding around stoppages.
So nowhere really to go. That was clever. He held it up and held it up. And gee, Stevens had a good start, hasn't he? And then back to Montagne. And Montagne's kick to a hot spot at centre-half forward. McAvoy lumbered. McWalter's handball. Milne brilliant. Schneider. Well, that one's comes off the side. They've got some tall timber there, Kosicki and Stanley, and it'll be a boundary throw-in. Schneider had so many opportunities. I'll go back to that grand final last year.
There's dominating the inside 50s at the moment. The Saints 9-4. They really need to convert. Stating the obvious, need to make some forward goals and some thrust from these domination of possession.
So West's free kick. Back to Gamble. Taylor corralled by Stanley. Gamble again. He's only played the one match this year for the Cats, and that was in round 3 in Perth when they lost to Fremantle. Selwood in the back half. Dangerous kick. Ray couldn't quite make it. Dangerous for both teams. In the end, Enright was the target. Ray's been very good. Montagna free kick. So against Wojcinski. So Montagna coming up for the 7th possession. Gwilt wide. Patient build up again to Fisher. And then Fisher's wide-ish kick. And Milne, who's a lead-up player, basically, isn't he? Couldn't take the mark.
Just being played in St Kilda's forward half. This is where St Kilda have dominated the game but can't get on the scoreboard. They've just got to prevent Geelong breaking out of the congestion into forward space.
West just got rid of Hayes there, and then Hayes maybe into the back, but no free kick. Baker, Schneider on his wrong leg, and Milburn sits underneath.
Clear it out, Josh.
So Milburn with a careful little kick. Enright gets midfield. Stats, doesn't he? Mackie to Burns to Selwood, running hard, kicking with a long ball inside 50. Fisher went back to side and knocked to mark. Saints with some numbers. Gilbert tackled. Fisher tackled by Varco. Blake under pressure and coughed it up. And that was just pressure that...
Right, the surge forward. The problem is when the ball is in one half of the field and all the players are there, if it breaks from that congestion, and then it tends to be 2 or 3 forwards. St Kilda had the defence back, so they didn't get out position, but great forward pressure by Geelong to create the sloppy kick and the intercepted mark.
The key was obviously the 3-on-3 in the forward 50.
Yep.
So the Cats with Burns, and that one again way off to the side and not really making the distance and punch through. So we're only seeing them kicking the ball about 40 metres at the moment, aren't we? Tops.
Well, they're actually handling the ball really cleanly, so it has to be wet and slippery already. And but the skills have been remarkable given a damn ball.
So Del Santo to Hayes. And this is where the Saints have had some problems in the back 50, just extricating the ball out.
The difference is when it's low scoring, the one ball is going to be used for maybe 10 minutes. Obviously, every time there's a score, the ball is swapped over from the reserve balls.
In a free kick to the Saints here. In a slow play, Geelong will get numbers back. They'll set up a zone cluster type structure, which will obviously require St Kilda to be far more patient with the ball. They'd like to get speed on the game, given the conditions, to get the ball into a one-on-one contest in their 50.
So Blake got it from Del Santo, who got it from Gilbert, and then Fisher's kicks a good one to Schneider. Schneider, who's kicked the goal so far for the Saints. Good kick to Stanley. That was a lovely kick and a good mark. He too hasn't played at the MCG like Jack Stephen. So Stanley back to probably the best kick in the team, to Goddard. He's too far out, obviously, to score tonight. And what does he do here? Does he load it up? He's uncertain. He decides to load to full forward. Cats have got all the numbers. That's a disappointing result for St Kilda. So Hunt got it from Enright. Mooney up the ground. And then Scarlett back from the hamstring. No other two inclusions, but Scarlett's kick's not good, and Gwilt just picks it off. Gwilt wide. Gilbert's been prolific, and that one maybe just off the side.
The one thing the St Kilda defence is doing is they're holding back. They're not getting sucked upfield when the Geelong forwards push up. So quite often, if Geelong are going to bomb the ball forward, they're going to be outnumbered most occasions. 5 marks for Gilbert in the opening term. Hayes went to ground. Might have got a boot there from Taylor Hunt.
The Cats obviously the best in the competition at getting inside 50s. They're right down at this stage, only 6. They average 14 for a quarter. The game will be played in the midfield. It's the team that can get their hands on the footy and run it through and actually get some real class execution going forward.
Del Santo was third man out. Mablett won the clearance. Baker from Gwilt. Back to Gwilt. Left foot of Varco can't get to him. It's a good kick. Stevens had a good start here. To Blake. So the Saints with some purpose. Montagna at centre wing.
It's important they honoured that lead. Really important to honour the leads of Milburn's direct opponent, Enright's direct opponent, Gamble's direct opponent.
Keep them accountable.
Absolutely.
So Montagna then off one step. Gardner, I think, is the target now. At the back, Jones. And again, it'll be a boundary throw. Down to you, Tim.
Injury concern to the brilliant Steve Johnson. He's been in the hands of the trainer, the doctor, for about 5 or so minutes now. The way they've been testing it, it appears to me that they might be concerned about a break of some kind in his hand. That's his right hand. So, as you see there on the screen, Steve Baker just giving him a little bit of treatment too.
As you'd expect, I think, from Baker. He's a combative footballer, and so that could be a big blow for the Cats. Johnson came into the game averaging 2 goals a match for the first time in his career. 35 goals this season alone.
On top of Chapman.
That's about 50. It's so hard to set shots in a crowded forward 50 with a damn ball, so that's taking it from 90 to 40.
Got it here, mate.
There's
50.
genuine respect between these two teams, but there's not a lot of love lost. There's that real competitive forces.
Well, you said in the opener that it goes back a fair way, doesn't it?
Goes back a long way.
So Schneider. He's been very good with set shots this year. He's 7 goals won from set shots. Not an easy night. He's got it home. Kicked 2 goals in the opening term.
I think a lot of St Kilda supporters at the ground are thinking, how come he couldn't kick that goal in the last quarter? He's had 2 shots tonight, kicked them both.
And he missed a few earlier at that end of the ground, didn't he, in the grand final? But this is a real gift, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think goals at the start of the quarter are going to be absolutely crucial when the ball is dry. We've mentioned there's not going to be a hell of a lot of goal scoring, so important that you convert those chances. Can't afford to give away the 50-metre penalties and give them a goal 5 metres out.
So 7 times this year, Schneider's been a multiple goal scorer. Selwood and Del Santo, they know each other pretty well, those guys, from the same place in Victoria, the Del Santos and the Selwoods, from Sandhurst near Bendigo. So Selwood out of the centre, belting it forward. He'll know that he owes the Cats one now. Gwilt's handball was a hard one for Blake, and then he has to take them on. Did well to Geary. Geary's kick is a missed kick in the end, and then Taylor Hunt, very good play to West, to Stokes, couldn't break the tackle. Montagna and Enright magnificent back turn on the tackle, and then Gwilt has to go forward on his wrong side. Gardner's half volley, well done. Selwood on the up, gets it to Blake, good kick to Wojcinski, and then Wojcinski goes bang, but Blake will get it.
Did they cover that back 50 well, St Kilda? Geelong are really going to have to use it. If they keep the ball in long, most of the time the St Kilda defence will block it. Being able to use it on the way through is the challenge.
A good show of confidence by Blake to take the ball in his hands as well.
So Ray, they've worked it out short again. So Gilbert, 6 first quarter marks here. Started with a beauty against Bartel. Going to go down the line. Gardner and McAvoy, and Stanley, I should say, targets, and then Goddard and Bartel. There's Steve Johnson.
That'd be a big loss if Steve Johnson can't play any further part. Chapman obviously out. James Kelly out. Some real class for the Geelong side.
So Gardner and Blake. Well read Bartel. Ball bounces too high for Stokes. Burns, not sure if it was a handball in the end, but Stokes got it across to Wojcinski. Bang, crash tackle by the Saints. Hayes kick not great, but it skids along, and then Gardner, that's clever in the end, but it was a good mark. Lonergan read it so well. Scarlett to Hunt. Now Hunt's gets it on quickly. Here's Gamble. And Gamble down the line, but again, St Kilda able to cut it off this time. Fisher in short to Gwilt.
St Kilda's back six has got a better shape about it tonight than even Geelong's, who normally hold this position really well. There's a lot of open space when St Kilda are going forward.
Jones's kick just too tall for Milne. Ablett winning the race back. So Ablett with the opening goal tonight. Back to Scarlett.
Play on.
Scarlett to Enright.
Play on.
Looks up, decides to come across the ground to Hunt. Hunt, normally a great kick. Well, he had Ling very wide, but he's gone more directly to Milburn.
Stay there.
And then Milburn's probably going to go to Ling now. And again, well, he's got him.
Looked like Del Santo had the interception. But what was good about Ling, he came forward. We'll see this kick here. It looked like Del Santo was going to intercept it. But Ling came forward, just got ahead of him.
Hasn't been as accurate. In fact, he's 3 goals 9 this year, Ling, but he's 1-2 from set shots. He went for a couple of seasons where he just couldn't miss from about this range as well. Looking good, looking very good. And the captain puts the Cats in front deep into the opening turn.
Milburn's been the player. He's been really creative off half-back. He's winning the ball in an intercept situation, reading the ball better than his direct opponent, but also forcing his way up the ground. Enright obviously used the ball very well across half-back, but Darren Milburn's the player that the St Kilda coaching staff really need to look at and put some time into.
He was prepared to push forward, wasn't he? He didn't hold back in the back six. He was prepared to take the punt, get into space at half forward. Done a good job, haven't they, Geelong, to be only a point. So a point in front when St Kilda dominated the quarter.
Tim, down to you on Gary Ablett.
Yeah, smart play by Ablett too when they were going forward, the Saints, and Jones led to the ball, and he decided that Milne was a more dangerous player leading out to the flank, so he decided to leave Jones go and went to Milne and helped set that goal up for the Cats.
Just saw some protection coming out for Steve Johnson too. That's going to be a major part of the match. So an absorbing opening turn, wasn't it?
They'd be happy with where they're at, Geelong. I think the flow of the game suggested that St Kilda were dominant, but to go 1 point up, 14-13 is a great result.
So Friday night footy at the G, it's the Cats by a point over the Saints. Start of the second quarter on Friday night football. Geelong by 1 point. They've led by 1 point in 3 of their last 5 games at quarter time. West Coast and Collingwood the most recent before tonight. Ling, who put them in front late. Selwood got it from Blake and then belts a long ball inside 50. Fisher read it well.
The early possessions are going to be really important, just like we saw at the start of the first quarter. Got to use the ball when it's dry. Use it effectively.
Fisher found Ray to Blake. And then Blake very wide. Too wide, in fact.
Stay there.
Real playmaker, Enright. Going shortish. Was looking for Mooney and Johnson. Here is Johnson. So use the handball there with the right hand. And then crashes right into Hayes. Well played by Selwood. Ablett off the ground. Hard ball to Mark. Ray did well. And then concedes back to Gilbert.
Been the dominant player on the ground so far for mine, Sam Gilbert.
With all due respect to Sam Fisher, who's still a great player, Gilbert's almost taken his place, hasn't he, as an absolute key run defender.
A wonderful player. I think Melbourne is actually now playing forward half for Geelong.
So Schneider, who's kicked the 2 goals in the back half. Koschitzky, that's a good grab. Big back mark to Jones and released him on the right side for him being a left footer. Kicks inside. Stanley and Taylor. Harry normally gets bigger jobs when he plays the Saints, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's certainly an unfamiliar looking St Kilda side from a Geelong point of view without Revolt in there. Good forward play this by St Kilda. Really need to get speed in the game, speed through the middle of the ground and get it into one-on-one contests in their forward 50.
Holding, Mark. Blake's kick. Holding. Play on.
So Ablett from Blake. Varco. Looking around the ground, Geelong. So many players in the centre square at the moment. Back to Mackie. Here's Milburn. Now Ling, and Ling's careful kick. It's a good one. Mooney back to Varco, and then Varco with a probing kick inside the 50. It was a one-on-one. Goddard did very well on Bartel. See, that's a clash to savour, isn't it? Del Santo, Cats with the numbers. Taylor, good job. Stanley did well. Very well, actually. Down to you, Tim.
Well, Bartel has gone to Goddard in the early part of the second quarter. They didn't play head-to-head in the first quarter. And Goddard, as soon as the Cats got on the move then, he actually positioned himself across half-back, and Bartel just went down there, just trying to make himself dangerous.
So Hayes and Ling.
50 metres. 50 metres.
Well, that would be a frustration for the Geelong coaches box, particularly when it's a second 50-metre penalty. Ling, Selwood, both players in great control.
Free kick. Stay there.
So is Hayes within striking range, do you reckon, on a night like tonight?
A lot of the balls dropped short from this end in the first quarter, so interesting to see how this one travels the journey.
So Schneider kicked a goal from 50 in the opening term. He struck it pretty well, but just missing. So scores are level. So a let-off for Cameron Ling and the Cats. Well, that'll be a no-no from now on, you think, for Geelong?
You'd reckon. You'd think now with two of them. The first one obviously crucial, the second one not being punished, but probably enough to be spoken about at half-time.
Well, in the gamble on the up, Mackie, and then Varco in the right place at the right time, always dangerous to Johnson. Speaking of danger, and then Johnson, magnificent kick. And Geelong get the Saints on the counter-attack for not the first time tonight.
Now that's the kick-in situation where St Kilda are up blocking the midfield, but once Geelong were able to find their way through and then got the forwards getting into that open space into the forward fifth, we see them going back. All the St Kilda defenders were actually pushing up into the middle of the ground. If you can get it through, opens it up.
16-10 from set shots. He's hooked it. We've talked a lot about Mooney's kicking over the years. Johnson getting plenty of the ball, and not all he's getting in this second term.
That'll go on all night. And one bloke will be, in a way, sort of happy that's not happening to him is Gary Ablett. Stevie Baker's done some great jobs on Gary over the time, but Jones, the preeminent midfield tagger now.
If you're wondering where Dennis is tonight, he's got the bug. He's lost his voice, so he's sitting back, listening and watching. Schneider. Looking forward to having him back here next Friday night. Good attack on the ball from Enright, and also Stephen, who started pretty well here.
Great contest, that one. St Kilda obviously trying to honour the lead so that the Geelong defenders are being held accountable, but really good commitment from both Stephen attacking the ball and Enright to make the defensive decision.
Gardner, west of the back, Ling, Geary, Selwood's tackle a beauty.
And Geelong, of course, have got Gamble in defence, and they seem like they've pushed Milbourne forward. I wonder if that's for further on, thinking about options that we might need later on.
So Ray, Goddard was backtracking, but he did it really well. Speaking of doing it really well, that was brilliant by Hunt. Montagna, Del Santo, lovely handball to Gardner. He wants some runners. He's got Jones inside, decides to go long to Cozzy. It's a pretty good kick, gives Cozzy a chance, but Lonergan got back.
Great play by Lonergan. He had the sit on him, Kaczynski, and Lonergan knew all that he could do was just push back hard. As soon as he turned, he would be free kick. Just had to push back in.
Left-hand spoil also, which is extremely difficult to do when you're a right-hand dominant player.
Bartel. Good handball to Burns. Ablett has to try and fetch it against fierce opposition. Peak. Montagna looked up. Kicks to full forward. Kaczynski. Schneider's kicked 2. Schneider's kicked 3. And puts the Saints in front yet again tonight.
He has been dangerous down there. I was thinking who his specific matchup is. Probably
Lee Gamble started on him. Gamble actually was on him at the first bounce tonight.
You get the sense that Adam Schneider's got himself up for the game.
Yes.
You know, really has started the game well. He's probably seen a young player go to him, licked his lips a bit, and he started like a house on fire, really. Really important, most dominant player, forward player on the ground.
Kozuchi's ability to make a contest important there, wasn't it?
That was good, but Gamble didn't stay with him at ground level. Schneider, Gamble was the match-up then.
The basics are really important in conditions like this. Bring the ball to the front, and if you're a small front and centre player, you've just got to get there.
So Del Santo out of the centre. Kicks towards full forward, Milne. Stanley, we know he's quick. He won the sprint at half-time in the grand final. Back he goes to Peake. And then Peake, speaking of pace, running away from Hunt, and then kicks to full forward. Ray was there, belted away at the back. Well done by Enright, and then Ablett to Mackie, wide to Milburn, within Gilbert, and out of play. Schneider was the only multiple goal scorer for St Kilda in the grand final last year with the two.
Tom, do you think Milburn's trying to play as a bit of a defensive forward on Gilbert?
Yeah, I think he is. I think it's a message.
With there. Yeah.
Probably a message from the coach. They were both basically playing the same role, Milburn and Gilbert. Geelong obviously not happy with Gilbert to be roaming free across half-back, and they've sent Milburn to him.
Goddard, well done again, Lonigan, and then Hunt, dangerous area. Gee, Schneider did well, he sort of threw it out in the end. Terrific by Milne against Taylor. Schneider was looking for one in the back, didn't get it. As the champion captain looks on, and we're told he's not far away from playing.
Countdown's on for the next week or two or three.
Tap by Hayes. Selwyn. Enright. Just for the moment, certainly not rattled Geelong, but for the moment you feel like the Saints have got their teeth right into this now.
Well, the basic stat, inside 50s, 19 St Kilda, 12 Geelong. So that's an indication of where the game has been played.
Don't hold off the ball.
So McAvoy and West heard the umpire calling, don't hold off the ball. So many targets for both teams here with the great midfielders. So Ling and Varco amongst the interchange bench. Mackie over the top.
Line.
Just how physically demanding is a match like this, do you reckon?
Even looking now, the way the players are getting up, they're sort of one leg at a time. It's only early, obviously, in the first half, but players looking fatigued.
I think in the grand final last year there were over 300 contested footy in the 600 odd possessions.
Just at this point, there's 17 tackles apiece, which isn't a big tackle number. I mean, 20 a quarter is a reasonable benchmark.
Ray, well done, Selwood. High tackle. Nobody's better at that than Selwood. Yep. He was able to go down on the tackle, wasn't he? Impossible for the umpire not to pay it.
It's a 50.
Well, Mackie pointed to the spot. I think it's Gilbert.
Which is a decent 52.
Well, they're unforgivable at any time. The umpires have clearly, especially with the Selwood one early in the game, they've right on it, regardless for offensive language.
Just look out for the next clear.
Or whatever. It's the umpires have drawn the line in the sand.
Just the one goal so far this year. Mackie G's a beautiful kick. Puts it home, and Geelong kick a goal and go a point in front as we go down to Tim Watson.
I'm here with Brian Royal. Brian, in these conditions, I guess it was always going to be a game played like this.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the contest and the press has been fantastic from both sides. So I guess it's the team that's going to stand up, isn't it, under these conditions? The team can fight out the most.
The midfield matchups, have they gone the way that you thought they'd go?
Yeah, I think so. So Ling's certainly gone to Hayes. So, yeah, Lenny gets tags most weeks, so I'm sure he'll be able to handle that.
And Gardner's pushed forward a number of times and looked dangerous.
Yeah, he has. And I guess it's not a great night for big fellas, but if they can take the most of those opportunities, it's going to go a long way to the team winning a game.
Thanks for your time, Choco.
Thanks, Tim.
Brian Royal mentioned Gardner. He's actually been one of the players who's looked pretty comfortable with the ball in his hands. He started the game well and is executing his skills magnificently for a big fella.
So McAvoy in the ruck there. Here's Goddard. Couldn't quite get the kick away. Stokes in hard on Montagna. High again. You guessed it. Selwood becoming a real factor, isn't he? As the game's gone on, gives it to Bartel. belts it inside the 50. Varco trapped it brilliantly. Ball handling good. Tried to ride the tackle. Got half a handball. Pete cut it off in front of Johnson. Gwilt from Baker. Gwilt on the wrong side for him. Out wide. Montagna was in right in the back. Gee, Montagna did well. He stood up brilliantly. Del Santos look away to Goddard. And then Goddard with that searing kick cut off by Lonigan. Lonigan butters up. Under pressure. Tried to give it to Enright. Burns back to Enright. Belts it forward. Right spot Stokes. In front on his own.
Well, it's one of the things that forwards, because they can watch their teammate with the footy upfield, the defender has to try and keep one eye on his opposition. They should read the quick kick better.
Yep.
And this really, I guess, to a degree, dropped on Stokes' head, but nevertheless, he got under it.
Scarlett's first touch here so important across the ball. And Stokes straightening it up. And the Cats get a couple in a row.
The stats are really telling us they've actually kicked 4 goals, 3 from 15 inside 50 entries, John. They just look a little bit more dangerous when the ball is in and around their 50-metre zone. That is the one part of the game that they're doing a little better.
Well, their entries, Lee, I think, have come quicker. Yep. They've had a bit more fluency with the ball going forward, whereas St Kilda's obviously had so much time inside their 50s. So states the obvious, but quick inside 50s are the key to goals.
So the Cats by 7 points. Stokes 3 shots for goal tonight. He's played the last 5 games. Had the horrible start to the season, didn't he? And he's come back very strongly on the field. Selwood dominating in this second term. In close and in the clearances. Johnson's read this best. He'll kick a goal. Well, not conventional, but when has he been?
Well, he'll blame his hand, or he might just blame the slippery ball. But that was just running into an open goal for a clear shot. He fumbled it, but he was quick enough. Centre bounce clearances, aren't they critical?
Yeah, they certainly are. I mean, the basics of the game, as we see here, just keep the ball to the front in the contest. It's darted over the back. I mean, it's an opportunist goal, but players like Johnson and Milne and Schneider down the other end are always there to sniff out those sort of goals. So the basics, super important.
Just look at the work there from Selwood again. First touch on the ball, then followed up, and then that long kick to set up the goal. That was just magnificent play.
He's been dominating Selwood, hasn't he? He's been the man that's really got them going in this second term. Dal Santo. It was the Saints that were winning the clearances in the opening term. They get an important one there. Taylor took a chance, building forward. Schneider sits and waits. Handball. Now Dal Santo's a good kick. Well, they needed it. Schneider clever. Dal Santo finishing. And they close the gap again.
Yes, no doubt. No matter what the conditions are, wet, dry, windy, if you can get a centre bounce clearance and get it into your forward 50 quickly, and that's how the scoring has come. This time it was St Kilda, and Del Santo was the one who drove it forward. But it means everybody's under a bit of pressure. It's in the centre corridor, and once you got the ground level footy, you got a shot at goal.
Last 10 kicks in this match has produced 4 goals after the battle earlier on where you just couldn't buy one.
Yeah, Ruckman to Rover, kick it forward.
So Gardner doing just that, but Magwalda couldn't take it. Wojcinski, well done. It's a lovely kick. Gamble, who's now pushed forward on his own, and then kicks to half forward. Baker read it well. He got off Johnson. Johnson's been getting off Baker in this quarter. He's given him the slip. Big story for the Cats as Harry Taylor's actually hurt himself. Looked like he rolled his ankle in that contest. He's gone down the race. Big concern for the Cats.
Back around the mark.
Gee, yeah, he's writhing in pain, isn't he? He's in real trouble here. So Johnson, who we were worried about in the opening term, doesn't look to be much wrong with Johnson's hand when you see him take a mark like that. Off one step, Podsiadly, gang tackle basically before the ball got down, and then Ablett roving it brilliantly.
Oh, that is a highlight. I mean, that was magnificent. He really had about a quarter of a step to think what he's going to do. Have a look at it across the body here. It's basically just in the middle of the pack of players.
It's all about taking your chances. It was a good goal, obviously, and well executed by Gary, but you've just got to make the most of your opportunities. We've seen how important the clearances have been, and Gary is on the end of that one.
It's all about centre clearances, this part of the game, but that ability to make the game a goal out of nothing, that helps.
2 goals to Ablett. Good tap by Blake, and here is Ablett again. And for not the first time, the Cats have come to this half-forward flank to gamble. And then Taylor Hunt's kick, not good, wide, but did bounce in, so it'll be a boundary throw-in.
So I think they're taking advantage of the St Kilda defence, likes to control and cover centre corridor, and that lead out into open space is being rewarded.
Last couple of times Gamble's been the man there. Now Del Santo's kick. Ablett, not quite. Well done, Burns. Back to Enright, off one step. Gets it to about 15 metres, and then Del Santo will get a free, I think.
Front on in the He's the one going back with the float. I'm going at the ball. Front on contact. I'm going at the ball, though. Settle down. Front on contact.
So Del Santo's short to Gilbert. Had a big opening term, didn't he? Not so much in this quarter. Cats have been very efficient in this term. So Gilbert off one step, slow ball to Ray, picked off by Lonergan.
Pretty honest contest. Gilbert had nowhere to go to before because every player was in the front half. Every player's man on man. Really no free players for this St Kilda side.
Selwood got it from Ray and then just to the skinny side. He's imposed himself in this quarter, Selwood.
He's been terrific first half. 9 kicks, 6 handballs, 15 disposals, 5 clearances, 8 contested possessions. He's been excellent. 5 inside 50s. That's a real good numbers.
There's the Saints midfielders that had impressive numbers in the opening term. Montagna, one of them.
The stats have really evened up. St Kilda dominated possessions, dominated inside 50s, dominated marks in the first quarter, but now those numbers are basically the same as Geelong gaining the ascendancy in the match.
Bartel, Ray into his back now to Hunt. Hunt again with a long ball. They've been doing this a bit, the Cats, in this term, haven't they? Going long and hard in forward, and then Johnson roving, but the ball eluding him for the moment. He's looked so dangerous, Stevie J, in this term.
Good shot there of just the numbers. And we saw the Ablett goal before, how he was able to get something out of nothing. You get the feeling they're the sort of goals that are going to win the game tonight.
Kosicki getting around in front of the 2 ruckmen, Gardner and West.
Come through. Next guy, straight up. Look at the footing, don't block.
Cozzy again. Ablett. So dangerous in the forward 50 again tonight. West. Good tackle, Montagne's got him.
Back here. Thanks, Gary. Stay there.
This is a challenging kick for St Kilda to get out of this pocket. They've been hemmed in the last couple of times as a rebound. Need to find a target, but really important, as you can see on the screen there, there's just nowhere to go for Joe Montagna.
They're being strangled, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Absolutely choked in that back half. No space, no time, and very difficult to know what the right option is. Long the target to Gilbert. Big fly, but he went to ground. Geary has to be good in the tackle. Mooney back to Bartel. Just a little fumble here. Interesting call.
No chance. He's picked it up, tackled straight away.
Half a chance in the back, half a chance holding the ball. Saints get the clearance. Kosicki to Hayes, hit the umpire. Well, they're stiff there, I think, the Saints. And then West able to get it to Mackie, out wide to Enright.
Hold there, Milne.
Enright back inside. Hunt, so he releases him on the right side for him. Too tall the kick. Geary trying to get away from Varco. Wide to Schneider. He's kicked 3 goals in this opening term and assisted in one to McWalter. Well, McWalter wanted to spend it before he got it. He's given it to a long kick, and Montagna looks up. Half volley. Milne pretty good at these and misses. Well, so much focus on Milne in these big matches anyway, forgetting the newspapers this week, but so far he's been able to strike a blow for the Saints in this opening half, I should say.
It was a long way clear. The ball just fell at his feet. It really should have been a simple set shot at goal, 25 metres out. But I would say the players being tagged doing well. Hayes is doing well on Ling, and Ablett is doing really well on Jones.
Burns in the back half. Cats sitting on a couple of goal lead here. The goals coming in bursts, and then Hunt, beautiful kick again to Enright, to Scarlett. Geelong looking confident. Bartel leans back, long ball inside. Gilbert with courage. Gamble read it very well, and then goes back to Mooney, back to Johnson. Johnson, that brain working overtime, and that occasion Blake able to smother. Hates to waste a footy, Stevie J, but that time a smother off the boot.
And not insignificant at the moment. Geelong have now ticked over to 163 possessions, St Kilda 156, and 22 inside 50 to 21, so they've definitely got the flow of play.
Holding Lenny Hayes, free kick. Lenny Hayes. Lenny Hayes. And fling again. Arm around the waist.
So another free kick for Hayes. It's a good one. To Gardner.
Stay out, Jono.
And Gardner short to Geary. It was just too tall in the end for him. Ray to Geary. Geary's handball under pressure. Goddard did well, tried to strip the ball off Mackie and then tried to get a high tackle. Good job by Goddard. And then Ray able to build it forward. Stanley and Lonigan. Important Stanley doesn't go to ground here. He was outnumbered. Milburn, handball over the top. Burns in the back half. Good kick to Mackie. Just haven't been able to put quite enough pressure on that Geelong back line. That's not a good kick. Gwilt, Blake, Geary again. Laterally, Gardner's been good. Goddard provided the run. He decided he does go to him. It was Gilbert going inside, and then Goddard's dangerous kick picked off by West. Jones conceding a lot of ground to Gwilt. Gwilt in that sticky bit to Hayes. He's got Jones wide. He'll find him. So Jones at centre wing. Normally not a great kick. Has to be careful. He is to Ray, the former Bulldog. He's only missed the one game in 2 seasons since he's been at St Kilda. And they're loaded up here. Kicks to full forward. At the back, Fisher, Mackie, little left footer. Bartel didn't get a good bounce. Had to tap forward. Burns under pressure. Good job, D'Alessandro. Brilliant Bartel. Good tackle, Hayes. Burns. J-Pod, Gilbert crashing through. Ling's got hold of him. Down low, Bartel. Good contest. Burns tackled 1-2.
Oh, it's a hot footy.
Yep.
But whenever the play slows down a little bit, both defences look really in control. That's why the centre bounces have been so critical. If you can get the ball out of the centre bounces quick forward, that's where most of the goals have come from.
West, D'Alessandro maybe held on to by Selwood. High tackle shortly on McWalter. Peak. Ablett, Selwood fetching it. Brilliant Selwood. How good was he there? To West, to Varco. Back inside to West, to Varco. Bends the back, runs hard, kicks it magnificently.
That was a distinct difference in the style of play at the moment. About 2 minutes earlier, Kilda actually got the intercept through Jason Blake, I think it was. Chose to go backwards. Really need to put some speed with their forward entries, but as we saw, a great contest in the half back line for Geelong, and they were able to get speed on the ball. Varco is a player who can carry the ball line, used it. Most important part of the forward foray was a one-on-one contest. If any time you can get a one-on-one contest in the game tonight, is absolutely gold.
So Mooney has missed one set shot tonight. It's coming back. He's hit the post. Well, he's got the wobbles again tonight, Cam. Is there a more determined footballer than Joel Selwood? I mean, he won that.
Yeah, the way he won the ball in that contest, the quick kick forward, prepared just to get 20 metres forward, that opened it up. He's brave and strong.
So a let off there for the Saints. They need the next goal, you reckon, in a low-scoring first half. They've had some good moments. Hayes to Gilbert. They've been two of their very good players. And then Goddard. Jones, it was an awkward one for him. Ablett. So strong through the core, Ablett, isn't he? He's able to...
Carried him forward in the tackle, pushing the back.
His ability to hold his ground then was so impressive. And then Ablett's kick for Johnson. Well done, Geary getting back. Johnson onto it, though. Getting in his row, Burns. Handball misses the mark. Geary takes on Ling. Selwood again. Going forward. Varco in there. Geary cut off by Stokes. Back to Montagna. A hot footy. Dal Santo's little give. Montagna to Jones. Can the Saints keep their nerve here? Geelong are pressing hard. They've got all the numbers. Enright whips it back in. Ablett loads it up. Goes for goal. And Blake tumbles it over.
Huge work rate from the St Kilda side at the moment. They're all the Saints players pushing really hard into their defensive 50, but the problem with that, obviously, is when they do win the ball back, they have nowhere to go. The St Kilda players look up and see a wall of blue and white. They need to work the ball more patiently, still attack through the middle of the ground.
Blood rule, mate. Straight off.
Stevie must have got one in. He's on the blood rule, Stevie Baker. Steve... Wow, he did. This has been all night with these two guys, right from before the ball was bounced. A couple of prize fighters. I mean,
there's a lot of arms being thrown in all different directions in this contest.
What's the score? 0-0 at the moment, those two?
Gee, Baker's eye looked pretty sore. You'll need a good cut man in the corner to get him back out there. So Goddard in the back half. Just certainly not out of it. I mean, they're right in it, but they need the next goal before half-time, or they can't concede. That was clever by Montagna. Good handball. Milne getting it from McWalter. Back it goes inside to Stephen. Now Kozutsky. Not sure if that was the right handball, actually. Hayes back to Montagna to Milne. Milne arches the back. Clever sidestep. Bounces it once. He's got a free goal. He's going to wobble it. It's not a good kick, but it's Scarlett. Blake. Mujinski down low. Well done, Enright. Ling gets it from Mujinski. Cat so cool. Good kick. Lovely mark. Gamble inside. Mackie running through the heart of the centre square. It's a slow centre square tonight. Off one step. Johnson with a new target with Dempster. Johnson worked him underneath it. Gwilt getting back. And then Gwilt near the line and runs it over. Under pressure. It'll be a kick in.
Again, the ball got over the back there and Stephen Johnson almost got on the end of it. I think they're the basics that St Kilda need to get right. They've just got to keep the ball to the front, get the ball where their numbers are at the fall of the pack.
Ray, a lot of the ball in the first half. Back to Gwilt. And Gwilt under pressure. Back to Ray. This is his 15th disposal coming up. It's a good kick. Now, Snyder's off here if they can get it to him. Gilbert's on the wrong side, being a left foot. It's a terrible handball. Varco, well done, Fisher. Blake, difficult. Varco, brilliant. And then Varco's kick, magnificent again for Stokes. Stokes little left footer. Close, close, close. Oh, not quite. The ball couldn't quite work. And Gwilt, short to Stephen.
It's been dangerous, Varco, hasn't he, on the turnover?
Oh, he's so quick too. He just sort of touched that ball. All of a sudden, he had possession.
Montagna, a lot of the ball, but I reckon a lot of it's been right where he is now in the second quarter. Back half, defensive 50. Hooks the kick. Look for Cozzy. Did well, the big fella. Jones runs hard. Has to get it on the boot. Brought down, free kick.
Just here, Samar. Come back around.
Well, you can see how long there is to go. One chance, one half chance here for the Saints. Whose hands can he get it in? He's gone too far back, you'd reckon, for a goal. They might want the side to go themselves with Varco with it. And so half-time. Cats 16 points in front. It could have been further a moment ago. Look at this, Stokes. Almost.
Just did the S-bend in its flight.
And it's on these sort of conditions where you expect the ball to roll through.
So the big game on Friday night footy, Geelong and St Kilda. It's a 16-point margin. The Cats lead it. It's 43-27.
Around for Steve Baker too. He's certainly not on the field against Johnson. He might still be having treatment.
So start of the second half, Friday night football, Geelong and St Kilda. The two top teams in the competition going into this round, 1v2.
That's a remarkably quick call from the umpire then to start the second stoppage.
Gardner probably got a little bit of their Selwood again. So the first clearance by him, Varco, so dangerous in that first half. Look at that pick-up now. He's threw that ball forward. Johnson pushing forward to Burns, rode the tackle, Geary, and then Jones's wayward handball. Montagna set a task, had to go on hands and knees. Did pretty well, Montagna, building it towards the line. Boundary throw in. She got it hard on Selwood there.
Sometimes it's just knowing, isn't it, when it's time just to kick it forward. Don't try and find another handball, another disposal, just kick it forward.
Blake front spot. Montagna. Enright hooking back to about 50 metres. Front spot Johnson. Dempster's got a big job on him tonight now with Baker off the ground. Burns. Johnson's little toe poke. Del Santo had to hold up.
Just watching Selwood closely. Del Santo's the player who looks like he's a direct opponent. On that occasion, Joel actually moved away from the contest. Dow went to the ball, so it'll be interesting to see what sort of defensive job Nick Del Santo does on Joel Selwood.
Hayes, the third man up, but his opponent, Ling, back to Mackie on the wrong side for him. Podsiadley's had a quiet night so far. Good tackle on Dempster.
Thank you.
Just trying to remember how many holding the balls we've seen tonight. Has it been one? I can't really remember.
Good.
Dempster's quick kick out.
Adam! Sire! Here, Adam!
So Wojcinski, a hold against Schneider. Mackie in short.
To see the huge numbers there in the Geelong forward line. Again, probably going to use the ball patiently here, the Cats.
Prepared to concede and do that. To Scarlett. And then Hunt.
At the moment, they can kick the ball across midfield for a quarter of an hour.
Yep.
Their forward 50 is very congested.
Good mark, not paid. Well, here's a chance. Montagna to Schneider, couldn't take it. Neither could Mackie. Gee, Montagna did well. Kept his cool. Back he goes. Geary. Jones. Back to Geary. These kicks are important. Lonigan. Stanley. Took it well. Good handball. Del Santo. Good kick inside. Gets to McWalter. They've done well here, the Saints. McWalter's kick across the ground is a good one. Now Goddard, almost you'd think within range, decides to sweep the handball. Ray is within range, but he goes to Gardner, and then Gardner off one step and missing. Interesting, two very good kicks. Goddard and Ray, and then to Gardner, who was always going to be under the pump.
See Ross Lyon there, it's almost like he's saying they had Milne one out on Hunt. It was their fall down, I guess. They're let down in the first half. They weren't prepared to get the ball quick into a one-on-one contest. I know Milne's been down in form. Josh Hunt playing a great game. However, just need to get that one-on-one contest.
Mackie under pressure. Last 6 scoring shots in this match have been behinds. 4 to the Cats and a couple to the Saints. Lonigan wants Varco. Good contest. Goddard was terrific. Hayes was held up. Lovely handball coming inside from McWalter to Del Santo, to Jones, to Del Santo, to Hayes. Still pressure. Stanley, a chance here, you would think, with Milburn. Kazitsky bashing and crashing, and Ablett coming away in the back half. And then Ablett going for distance and maybe a bit of the line. Podsiadley. They've been able to keep hold of him tonight. Conditions not great for a big marking forward.
They've gone for it 2 or 3 times from Kilda.
It's a throw, played out of here, your kick.
So the ball obviously hadn't gone out when the throw was called. So Gwilt.
Back where we started. Again, look, when they go into their forward 50 at the moment, St Kilda, they just don't look like finding anyone who's going to score. Milner's just not working for Milne tonight. Kazitsky, Stanley, they don't look like getting it. That's at the moment, they're very barren in their forward third.
Is Goddard an option to play out of the square?
Well, they're going to have to find something, because really, they've kicked 4 goals and they don't really look like kicking 7 or 8 for the game.
And those 4 goals have come from 2 players only.
Yeah.
Schneider and Del Santo. So Ablett cut off by Gilbert to Fisher. Set McWalter a task. Good contest. Got in hard, so did Wojcinski and Milburn.
Tackle. You got him high, give it straight
Well, when the whistle blew, I had no idea he was going to get the free kick there. Back into Fisher. McWalter comes from the ground. Schneider about to come back on. Fisher very short. Ray's been busy.
Stay there, stay there.
You can see there all the players are actually in line with the kicker, so St Kilda may need to think about getting the ball off the direct line to find some space.
So Ray in not 2 minds, in about 4 minds there. And that's a bit symbolic of what's happening at the moment, isn't it? He wanted to use Fisher, then he decided not to, and then got himself into a tangle. Bartel with the smother. Stevie Baker being stitched up. Would need Bundini Brown, who used to do it for Muhammad Ali with Angelo Dundee, I reckon, after that tonight. Short it goes to Geary.
Stitched up by the doctor, not necessarily his direct opponent, who's had a pretty good night, Stevie Baker.
Here's Geary, that's right. Back to Gwilt. Didn't take the mark. He's got to get rid of it. He does to Blake. They're on the back foot, though, aren't they? Symbolically and literally. Back from Gilbert to Fisher. And then Fisher short. You like it when Goddard's got the ball in his hands. He's had a lot of... He hasn't really been able to hurt. But it's a hard night to hurt the Cats on a night like tonight. Geary. Montagna hard. Pete. Montagna. Advantage given to Jones. Jones with a long ball in forward. Milne's a chance. Rather Schneider. There was Schneider back there with Wojcinski. Well played, David Wojcinski. Selwood. Good kick. Had nowhere at all to go. Built it forward and then chased it hard. Gets up to Goddard now. How good was Selwood there? He ran 60 metres to put pressure on. And again, Peake's long ball. They've got the numbers they should mark and do. Well, that's the end for Darren, isn't it?
Hey, Justin, leave it, mate. You've got it.
It's been good, Jack Stephen.
Yep.
Third shot at goal from a 50-metre penalty.
Time back on.
So Jack Stephen gets the first goal, the all-important first goal after half-time.
Yeah, a probable goal become a certain goal.
The second one, very aggressive
How do
push.
you know it was aggressive?
Well, I was right there. Okay. We've got a difference of opinion.
Good conversation anyway. How do you know it was aggressive?
Yeah, difference of opinion.
Here we go. We'll have a look at it.
I thought it was Scarlett, in fact, that gave the shove, wasn't it? Not Milburn.
They're one and the same. They're best mates. They sing from the same hymn book.
They'll both take the blame.
It was a probable goal into an absolute certainty.
Yeah.
And St Kilda really taking those opportunities. They need to, but they did get the ball in. They've just got to keep thrusting the ball forward, and sometimes fortune favours the brave. 23
minutes since their last. Del Santo from Hayes to Jones. Taylor's back out there. Took a good mark. Scarlett. Wojcinski. Milburn. Stanley to try and run him down. Fumble by Enright. Important they don't give a free kick away, the Saints. Stephen becoming important. Leans back. Won't have enough. Oh, yes, he did. Scarlett misjudged it completely. Little Jack in the box. Gets his second.
Well, we always know that they like to come back inside Geelong. I think Scarlett is pretty keen on the fact that he touched it, but the goal umpire said, nope, not having any of that. But trying to come back. And let's have a look at this.
Hard to tell.
The umpire was in the right position at least to make the call, but trying to come back inside in the centre corridor, and the turnover created that shot at goal by Stevens.
Always tough to tell on those ones.
Yeah.
I mean, Scarlett would obviously feel he's not going to lie about whether he touched the ball, but it was the right call from the umpire because he was in the spot, so you can't argue too much with that.
Saints now getting the clearances they did in the opening term. Lee, they needed an X factor. Now Jack Stephen has provided it,
found it a couple of times.
Because he's free, they'll be in front.
Yep.
Just here.
And that's what hasn't happened. This is the first time one of their tall forwards.
Bring him back. You were both holding, and then you dragged him out of the contest. Just here.
I'm not so sure of that, but nevertheless, it's the first time their tall forwards have looked like having a set shot at goal.
And quick
halfway
entries.
through the third quarter.
Quick entries from a centre clear. We spoke about that at half-time being crucial in the outcome of this game. So a really important start and a great start to this second half by the Saints.
Just right, it was a Goddard's long ball in. It was a quick ball in anyway. It's a terrific kick.
Quick and long. I mean, it's old-fashioned footy.
Well, if somebody had said St Kilda will be in front 10 minutes into the third quarter, you wouldn't have believed them. They may not be, but they have the opportunity right here and now. And he's missed. Really should have nailed it.
We heard pre-game how Ross Lyon said we don't want to kick the ball long and high against the Geelong defence, but when the conditions are like this, it's very hard to set up leading forward. So sometimes you just got to sort of try and get your height 20 metres out from goal and try and bomb it on the head and at least work from there.
Scarlett to Wojcinski, to Milburn, back to Scarlett. They're flirting. Lonigan, Ablett, pushing off, did well. Enright, another little fumble for the second time. A bit lucky. Montagna, good stuff. I think it was Milburn. Gee, it was good, Milburn. He was last man standing. Love to get inside your brain for a minute, Tom, when the Cats' defence is under pressure like this, just how they handle it. Varco to Selwood to Mackie. They get the ball down in a hurry, I think. Mackie got it back from Stokes. Kick forward, Gwilt had to be good. Burns a left footer, couldn't quite get around. Hands and knees, Fisher over the top. Gwilt did really well. Back to Gilbert, back to Gwilt. Long kick out wide. This game's alive. Someone's down behind play. I think it's McAvoy, is it? Or Gilbert.
They've got Milne over the back here. If they can just get the ball in.
Good fist by Wojcinski. That's Gilbert.
As Mark Thompson said at half-time, it's a tough game of footy.
Gee, they'd love to get Baker back. He's having, obviously, vision problems. And
Bartel free kick.
gee, that just relieves the pressure, doesn't it?
He's obviously got more than just a split eyebrow, hasn't he, Baker?
Yep.
Some other issue.
So suddenly, it's the Cats that are having trouble getting the ball. So West back to Selwood. And sums it up. Keeps it low. Good kick. Stokes protected the footy beautifully. Stokes against Fisher then. Then had an airing. Uses Ablett. Comes back inside to Burns. Back to Ablett. Off one step. Normally a beautiful kick in this situation. Mooney. Gilbert going again. Pods out. He looked high the first tackle it is.
What's going to be important this game are the easy possessions, whether they be free kicks or uncontested marks. Give the other side, whichever side it is, the confidence to use the ball, because it's such a tough contested game. You can't afford to give away easy possession.
Fisher back. Just a second kick for J-Pod tonight.
It hasn't been a day for marking forwards on either side, really.
And Mooney's missed a couple.
Yeah, Pods Adley, Mooney.
Because he missed one.
Stanley all struggled.
Ablett cutting in from the side, plays on from the mark. Lovely kick again to Gamble. Made his name as a forward. Kicks to full forward. McAvoy, well done. That was a good effort.
Strong mark.
Milburn again getting forward.
50.
Another 50.
Well, it's 4 in the night time. That's not something that anyone is going to be proud of, just being given the umpire an opportunity to ping you 50 metres.
It's the easy possession when the game is so hard fought like this. You can't afford to give the opposition confidence pills, and both sides have been guilty of it tonight.
Kozuski was a target. Lonigan got in front. Bartel cleverly off the ground. He's gained 25-30 metres in a boundary throw-in. So the Cats haven't scored, have they, since half-time? Still on 6-7 here. Baker back out. Straight to you-know-who. Gee, it'll be interesting when the ball gets between the two of them. West. Yet again, Selwood. And now Milburn. Kicks to Johnson and Baker. Nearly a brilliant mark. Baker to Fisher. Gee, Johnson was so good there. He was so close to having that paid. Gwilt out wide.
Got to run on this lead here with Stanley.
does, but cutting in Peak. He's a fast mover. Peak running on and then kicking very long to fall forward. Kozutsky sets himself. Again, Lonigan getting back courageously. Remember his background too, Lonigan, and the awful injury he had a few years back. Wojcinski with a dash. Wants Mackie. Big fly. Fishes at the back. He's got Goddard. Goes wider to Hayes. Inboard to Gardner, covering some ground. Back to Fisher. An important kick. Schneider tried to protect the footy. Ray. Schneider. Jones. Quick hands. Milne. Still Milne. Lines them up. Hooks it back. Hasn't got enough.
Ross Lyon did speak about the fact he didn't want his players to get the ball in long and just bomb it in against Geelong, obviously, because Geelong is so adept at peeling off and helping each other out. I think on a night like tonight, you just get the ball in. There have been times where the St Kilda players have been chipping around and not having the audacity to go in longer at contest. I think you're better off getting the ball in there and worrying about it once it's already in there.
And Milne's probably best bet tonight is not to be the lead-up forward, but be the crumbing forward, isn't it?
Yeah.
At the feet of Kozutsky, because that's the sort of night it's going to be for him. Bartel, Peak's tackle good. Well, Selwood's been magnificent. Goddard, well done. Sweeps the handball to Ray. Ray sweeps it back. Saints going all right. Blake to full forward, to centre-half forward. Kozutsky couldn't quite. Milne's handball. Kozutsky held on to Scarlett. Terrific tackle from the front, but Scarlett was wonderful. He rode the McWalter tackle. Kick coming back. They couldn't quite get it out. Down low, Blake. Well done. Ling comes off Taylor Hunt. Held on to. No free. Blake. McWalter to Stephen. He's kicked two, Jack Stephen. He's kicked three. A hat-trick at the MCG.
Well, I think it's said at half-time, who are we going to find to kick a goal for St Kilda? I don't know whether Jack Stephen would have been the one that would have been in the forefront of your mind. But he's just been, in a way, got on the end of goals, but just been an opportunist. Got upfield, created a bit of pressure.
Well, what he's done well is just continually go back to ball. I think a night's all about outnumbering your direct opposition, and he's been thereabouts.
He's been Stevie Milne.
Well, Harry Taylor was almost carried into the rooms at half-time by a couple of trainers. I'm surprised to see him out there, but he still is limping. And the other thing about Harry is that he actually kicked the ball. The first time I've ever seen him kick the ball with his right boot, so he's not even using his trusty left foot. That's how damaged and sore it is.
Lonigan well done. Milne getting it forward. Gardner did all right too. Lonigan against the flow. McWalter to Gardner. Gee, brilliant sidestep by the big guy. Inside to Ray. Goddard. Goddard off one step. Couldn't get enough on it. Just thinking, Lee, Jack Stevens really playing the Stephen Milne role, isn't he?
Well, they needed somebody, as I say. The tall forwards aren't going to be the ones that are going to score the goals tonight. So it's that Schneider did it early. Now Stevens has done it in the third quarter. That's 6 of St Kilda's 7 goals.
And he's also taken marks inside the 50, hasn't he, in the opening term?
They still need Stephen Milne, I think, to kick a winning score. He needs to get involved in the game. Josh Hunt clearly on top of that direct matchup.
Well, the Cats, who have kicked 100 points on 10 occasions this year, an average 125 points a game, are stuck on 6-7. It's not a night for 100 points, I know that, but they haven't scored in the second half.
Again, the key stats, disposals. St Kilda now 281 to Geelong 249, and the inside 50 count 38 in favour of the Saints to 32 for the Cats. So dominating possession, and we've spoken about it all night. Really need the scoreboard presence.
Lonigan just dropped it down. That's Taylor Hunt, Peak. And just getting it on to the boot was Enright. He's a wonderful player, but he's had a couple of fumbles under pressure.
Look at the clearances there. Selwood 9. He's been magnificent in there. He's really been a little bit run out for Geelong. They haven't had too many others.
Bartel and Goddard, what a duel that. Del Santo, well done. Peak belting it forward. Bounce important here. Scarlett getting back at a boundary throw-in. So right now, it's St Kilda on top, doing all the attacking in front of the scoreboard. McAvoy over the top, Gardner. Wojcinski didn't get it far enough. McWalter to Schneider. I reckon he's got his 4th. He's never kicked 4 at the MCG before tonight. He has now.
Spoke about Schneider at half-time. He's been the man most likely tonight, helped by Stevens tonight. I think the important thing to note is they're getting the ball in there and getting the ball in a contested situation. They're outnumbering a lot of numbers out here, but I think provided the ball's in there, it gives you a chance instead of working the ball around the arcs. I know it's the right thing to do on a dry day, but if you can continually get the ball in there, things happen.
Those small forwards, they're just getting the numbers there, aren't they? They're actually, the tackling pressure's been really good.
They've only had
It's been a weight of numbers, really.
They've only had 3 goal scorers, the Saints.
Yeah.
Schneider kicked 4 against the Cats when he was a Swan back in 06. So he's equalled his best effort. That's his best effort ever here at the G.
3 goal scorers, and Mill not one of them, so that you can actually probably turn that into an upside for the Saints if you can get involved in the game.
Selwood at 10th clearance. Gwilton, Podsiadly. Podsiadly clever. Left foot, but that's out in the form. Felt that the Cats went in a little tall tonight with the weather, didn't you? With Blake and West and Podsiadly and Mooney. And
Well, so with St Kilda, both sides actually went with their normal complement of talls. I mean, St Kilda went in with 4 very talls, Gardner, McAvoy, Kosicki and Stanley, and Geelong have got their 4 talls as well.
Jones, McAvoy. Peake's had a good third term. McWalter, Peake, Schneider. Trying to elude the tackle. He held up okay. Handball wasn't good. Conceded ground. Scarlett couldn't get away from Peake. Peake becoming a factor here.
They've increased their tackling pressure remarkably, St Kilda. They're up to 53 tackles. They only had 32 at half-time, so they've really put the pressure on.
McAvoy, but straight to Ablett. Comes back inside to Scarlett. To Ling. Ling short. This is Taylor Hunt. He's playing his first game at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Steve Johnson. Great acceleration. And then quickly on. Blake, no free kick. Stokes tried to hurdle over the top. Couldn't get it back. Blake. Cats still haven't had any score in this third quarter. We've been going for over 20 minutes. Kosicki up on the wing. Space suddenly for St Kilda. McWalter back to Kosicki. Decides to go long. Now Schneider's got a problem here, you would think. That's a good result.
Good result, yeah. 2 versus 1 out of bounds.
Goddide's up the ground. Joe Montani's just come back on. Hayes is off, so they're resting their gun midfielders. So if they can hold firm whilst those star St Kilda players are off the ground and then reload and go again at the start of the last quarter, it'd be a great result for the Saints.
Milne searching for it and a boundary throw in. The start of this third term, if you think back, Geelong had the ball in the forward 50 there, Steve Baker. It seemed no way out for the Saints at that stage. They were being strangled. They couldn't find space or time, and suddenly they've been 4 goals later. They find themselves a couple of kicks in front and making the running. Enright. So Geelong have had to absorb it here. Kicking wide. Lee, I've just been told the last time Geelong had a scoreless third quarter, they're not there just yet. It was 1984 against Hawthorn in round 22, and you got a Brownlow vote against them.
Remember that game?
We are going back in history a bit.
Well, they've got a few minutes to rectify all of that. Ling kept the ball in and belting forward. And right now, you feel like the Saints have got the right matchup suddenly, don't you?
1984, you weren't playing on
No,
Gary,
it was at Waverley kick 6. I'm pretty sure I can remember that game.
He just went to his book, didn't he, Tom?
Yeah, 6 and 1 votes a bit stiff.
Mackie back to Ling and then back to Bartel. Sweeps it. Here's a chance. Scarlett decides to go with a long ball to fall forward. Free kick. Gamble trying to get rid of Geary.
Actually just learnt on good authority, Lee. He kicked 7 that day.
Here's McWalter.
Oh, well.
Not often he's shortchanged himself. McWalter out wide
Absolutely.
to McAvoy, and then a boundary throw in. So what do you reckon about this game, though, Lee? I mean, it's half-time. We didn't really see this coming.
No, you could not see. Well, Geelong's scoring is just completely dried up, but they've kicked 4-3, St Kilda, this quarter. They've sort of scunced them. Stephen, Snyder, it's been just little small forwards.
Ling, Bartel. Quick kick inside. Stokes attacked hard. Varco cleverly done. Getting forward. Gwilt. Jones, good. Gee, made a good decision there, Jones, in not handballing. Over the bounce, the right one. McAvoy, well done. Kazitsky set McWilder a task. Important he doesn't fall over here. He had to keep his feet. Did well. He got a little hand in it. Taylor did okay. Milne. And then he hacks it forward. Stanley. Scarlett, strong body, holds him up. Enright off one step. Geelong with a chance here. Going forward. Wojcinski. Good kick.
Push out!
Burns. Getting around. Couldn't get around the second man. Varco. Stokes within range. And then the left footer. Gee, well done, Gwilt. Mooney protecting the ball.
I think you asked the question before, has there been a holding the ball? And I don't think there has, and I said good because I think there's too many holding the balls in the game these days. So I think the umpires have really reacted well to difficult conditions, protected the guy first to the footy.
Goddard. Burns just got into the back of Ray, and then Burns and Varco fetching. Gee, Gwilt's been, how good has Gwilt been? He's been magnificent. Yeah. Good kick. Stanley, nice mark.
Red time goals are so valuable, even more crucial when the low-scoring games in conditions like this. And doesn't appear to be a lot of breeze out there, but amazingly, 49 inside 50s have been to the right of screen, only 29 to the left. So we'll see whether that trend continues as the game unfolds.
Certainly in the first quarter, Geelong had trouble to the left getting the distance, didn't they?
Yep.
So the Saints,
would they be happy with this, the Saints, just to milk the quarter out?
Oh, I think so. They've earned the lead. I mean, they really have turned the game around, and you start now thinking, where's Geelong's goal going to come from? I mean, Baker's been good on Johnson, so that's pretty much dried up.
So Gilbert. Schneider read it beautifully. Took a while. Good handball inside to Milne. You knew he'd come back inside. This is an important kick. He needs to go. It's bouncing through. Stevie's on the board.
That's a big lead now, isn't it? 17 points. They've been magnificent, St Kilda. They are a magnificent team. They just really look like not much was working for them up till half-time, but they just keep persisting. And they've just, you said Milne might get involved. Well, he did.
Well, he remains the X-Factor. He's been their most dominant forward all year. He's really matured as a player in the absence of Nick Revold, and it could end up being the player who turns the tide or keeps the tide. And Dennis has actually just called in and said it's a run-of-the-mill type goal, that one.
It hasn't been a run-of-the-mill week for him, that's for sure.
True.
But, gee, Schneider again involved, isn't he? I mean, he read that so well. So Milne gets his first, and the Saints get a big lead. They led by 7 points on grand final day at three-quarter time. This is a lot bigger now.
Here we go, here we go.
It's 7 plus 10.
Looking more and more like that goalless quarter.
Well, Selwood charging through, runs into Baker. Talk about a couple of balls at one another, the young ball and the older ball.
Let it go, let it go. Here.
Speaking of great competitors, got all of that.
Jimmy Bartell was blocked. Jimmy Bartell knocked to ground.
Leave it on 50.
Jimmy Bartell.
Jim Bartell.
Can't afford a late goal here, St Kilda. Worked too hard.
So the free to Bartell in the centre square.
Jimmy, round. Thank you.
Well, the long ball in hasn't worked so well tonight, has it? Out wide. And Enright with a little toe. Oh, Podsy should get a free. Went up early, Blake. Ablett roving it, goes back to Enright. Takes them on, leans back, goes to full forward, and marked by Goddard. And Goddard wide to Kazitsky.
He's in the ruck now. Kazitsky wasn't really looking like marking the ball forward, so he's been given a run around the middle.
Don't mind that move, actually. Gardner's handled the ball really well, and they've got McAvoy playing forward at the moment. Both those two boys have looked pretty solid with their skills. Maybe get Kazitsky around the ball, exert some real physical presence.
Peak to Hayes, poor handball by Hayes, and now Burns gets it from Gamble. Kick inside, Gilbert was good there. Like a soccer goalkeeper, wasn't he? Gwilt taking them on, had to get rid of it in a hurry. He did. Baker keeps his nut down low with that sore eye and all, only as far as Wojcinski.
Got to hold firm here, the Saints.
Short inside. Enright again. And then Enright short again. Not sure about that one. Ling, handball out wide. Blake. Back it goes to Lonigan. Not much time. One last chance for the Cats to score in this quarter. McAvoy, Ablett, Goddard. They're not going to score. Can you believe it? You feel in the context of this match in the season, that was a watershed quarter, don't you, footy?
Without a doubt.
Incredible.
Not a single score to the mighty Cats in the third term, and at three-quarter time on Friday Night Football, this whole match has been turned inside out. St Kilda it is that lead by 17 points. In three quarters, they'd need at least 4, maybe 5.
Interesting to see Bomber Thompson really challenge Jimmy Bartell. The key players need to stand up for the Cats.
Friday night footy, final term, the epic clash again between these two teams. It was a goal in round 14 last year. It was 12 points officially in the grand final with a goal after the siren. So Schneider has been so good to fall forward. Well done, Lonigan in the front spot. He's done that well. To Enright. And then Enright wide. Milburn. Careful kick here is Bartell.
Play on, hit the ground.
And Selwood, magnificent game he's played. Gwilt's been superb in the back half for the Saints. Gilbert, Ablett, can he impose himself? He's been good. Selwood, high tackle, no free kick that time.
Umpire unsighted.
Free kick was there, umpire was unsighted.
Yeah, other side of the play.
No doubt that's a free kick to Selwood.
So Del Santo peak, didn't take possession. Ablett down low, and they're going to ball up.
I think Tim mentioned before that Selwood had the smile on his face when he arrived on. He loves playing footy. He'd have a smile on his face every time he came to play footy, wouldn't he?
Great competitor. I mean, it's one of those players where you're just so lucky to get into your club as an 18-year-old.
Johnson's kick forward. Stokes and Gilbert. Stokes chasing hard. Mooney's had no real impact. Here's a chance, though. Out wide. Can't get the topo. Stokes kicked it back. She was the back of Stokes' foot and must have been touched. Well, Burns it might have been. I thought it was Burns. See that? Oh, gee.
It might have been off Fisher's leg before it went through anyway.
Well, that's the first score of Geelong since half-time. How offensively do you think the Saints will play here? I mean, they're sitting on a good lead on a tough night, aren't they?
Well, they don't have to take undue risks. I mean, there's a long way to go, but they certainly don't have to be bringing the ball back into the centre square too often, things like that.
What Geelong do better than any other team in the competition is hurt you from a turnover. So if St Kilda go down that safe path and they commit a turnover, they'll be in strife.
So Selwood's high ball in, push out, free kick.
Gilbert, spin pod, push out! Oh.
Gilbert started well, had quite a second turn, but he's been terrific. Goddard, so much of the ball. Kosicki able to work Lonigan out of it. Ablett going back to fetch it with some time. To Enright. So many champions in this Geelong team. Who can make a difference in the last quarter? Bartell to Hunt.
You wonder who's there, Jack Stephen?
Yep.
Who can they bob up in the forward line?
Milburn laterally. Here's Scarlett running hard and then kicks to half forward. Oh, a great kick off the boot. Gilbert read it best, and the little toe poke out of play.
Not the way he plays defence, Gilbert. As soon as he saw the flight of the footy, then he was off after the footy. Makes really quick decisions.
So Blake and Gardner tap back. Goddard been terrific. Speaking of terrific,
So's he.
Gwilt has been magnificent. Kicks to the centre. Stanley, free kick. Oh, gee, again? I thought that was... Yeah, that's right.
Did he signal the wrong way?
Yeah, he did. But Scarlett knew that it was against him. Now, Stanley quickly here to a one-on-one, and that's a great mark by Stephen.
Just here's him up.
Talk about an unlikely hero. And he started with
great body use too. There's not too many guys that can just out-position.
He's the only St Kilda player to take a mark inside their forward 50 tonight, and he's actually taken 4 off them. So Cats probably wouldn't have thought about that.
To Goddard, who slips. To Peake. To Jones, who wobbles it forward. And it hit the post, I think. So, on the 4, was it? So they made a bit of a mule of that, the Saints, against Hayes.
It's a good contest, Hayes and Selwood, isn't it?
Yeah, the 2 Bulls.
Selwood's kick just missed Ling. Burns brought down by Del Santo.
No chance.
And the Brad Johnson, Tim, everyone's mentioned the tackling pressure that St Kilda have brought to this game, particularly after half-time. Been exceptionally good.
Blake won the tap. Jones has been good. So is Del Santo. Back to Jones. Saints won't mind any of this. Up the right end for them. Stoppage. Dangerous little blokes like Schneider and Milne around the footy. Blake. Montagna. Milne. Read it best. Couldn't take it. Little give by Hunt to Ablett. Johnson against the odds, and good mark. I feel like Geelong are defending a goal like a soccer team.
Yeah,
One goal,
yeah.
and they're gone, aren't they, here, you'd think? The first goal, if it goes to the Saints, you don't think there'll be any coming back. It's a beautiful kick. Del Santo to Montagna.
He bobbed up his own a long way clear. The Geelong defence would be looking around a bit saying, well, where did he come from?
What they do, Geelong in particular, is they have their forwards stay at home for the turnover. That's why they're so offensive when they do commit a turnover. Sometimes can leave the defenders isolated one out. Not prone to have extra numbers in the back half.
Huge kick here. And never really a chance. Cats. Don't know how many lives they've had so far tonight, but they're still certainly in this match. 3 kicks away. But they haven't scored a goal since half-time.
It's a great kick.
Hunt to Milburn and back to Ablett. They've really got to find someone to break the line, don't they?
Yeah.
To run and carry.
Well, they haven't been able to get through the centre square. St Kilda have defended that really well. Geelong just have had to go via the wings.
McAvoy worked underneath it by Hunt. Gets it back. Hayes in close. Handball back. Fisher off one step. Scarlett couldn't quite do it. Milne, he claiming the mark. And then poor handball. Really should have done better there, Milne. He tried to con the umpire into the mark. Podsiadly's had a difficult night. He's had the honeymoon start to his career, and this has been a bit of a wake-up call tonight.
Yeah, it hasn't been his night tonight.
Fell into Bartel's hands. Hayes has tackled hard. Ablett in hard. Well done, Ray, and also Montagna. Mackie went forward in the tackle.
Thank you.
Must get the next goal, the Cats.
Yep.
Get their exciting players, their dominant ball winners around the contest. Move it quickly. Just get it going forward to a one-on-one in their forward 50.
So Peake just hacking forward. Good mark. McWalter's been handy. He's that sort of player, isn't he?
You're right.
Short to Stanley Baker. Now, this would be an unlikely goal scorer. It was.
All clear.
He's always got the excuse, I couldn't see the goals. Have a look at that shiner.
Stephen Milne.
That's what they must have tried to use him for. I mean, he was doing such a good job on Johnson, but
Gee, I hope
maybe the vision's a little bit impaired, so good enough reason to go forward instead.
Hope Stevie J doesn't use him as a witness.
I don't reckon he'll be calling him in.
Baker down hard, taken by Stephen. Well, he's kicked 3 goals tonight, Jack Stephen. That one's not so good. Couldn't get any of it. Pressure for Hunt, though. Back it goes. Ray. Varco runs into Taylor. Ray with the hand on the footy. It hasn't come out.
You dragged it back in. Dragged it back in. Give it to him now, holding the ball.
So against Stephen.
Clear it out. Yep. Harry, take it out.
So two of the youngsters involved there, Taylor Hunt and Jack Stephen.
Predominantly one-on-one all over the ground. We can see it down there from behind the goals.
Milburn just got rid of Geary. West back to Ling. Back to Varco. Game tackle by Hayes. Looking for a free Milburn. None coming that time.
Mentioned it before, Geelong have kept their forwards at home in the hope that they do get a turnover, so they're going to have some representation. A couple of times St Kilda have committed Geelong to a turnover and had no one to go to, so Geelong keeping their forward structures obviously see that as their best avenue towards the goal.
Gee, West did well, and so did Ablett. He worked it beautifully to Ling. Milburn. Ling off one step. Podsiadly in a good spot. Terrific stuff by Dempster. First game for the year. That was courageous across the front.
Came in for the younger player, Eddie. Just got the sense that Ross Lyon and the coaching staff wanted a mature body in these sort of conditions against a mature, strong team in the Cats.
Well, ironically, Eddie played in the prelim final and then missed out on the grand final for Dempster. Not sure if he was injured or ill tonight, Eddie, but that was a late change. West and McAvoy. Talked about Peake's second half. It's been pretty good, I reckon.
Provided some dash, certainly, in that third quarter. When the game needed a game break, he was certainly one of those players that took the ball, charged his arm and got the ball in the Saints forward 50.
Selwood, Dempster hard at him. Geelong need to do what they did in the second quarter. They kicked 3 goals from 6 kicks in that second quarter. They need something to happen against the flow in a hurry here.
They need their midfield to be able to carry the ball a little bit through the middle of the ground. And they're getting a lot of the ball, but they're mostly just quick kicks forward.
West working hard. Del Santo couldn't quite break it.
Holding too long, Del Santo.
Well, they came from centre clear, so they just, Cats need to get the first goal, reassess, get back to the centre and get another quick one. That's probably the best way to go about it. They were so devastating and have been so devastating over a long period of time with their ball use out of the centre clearance, but just need to get the first goal on the scoreboard.
28 disposals, Del Santo. And this is the 27th for Montagna. Here's
Ray. 25.
Yep. Dempster. Well, it's been played on St Kilda's terms right now.
Yep.
Montagna running hard.
2 metres. Thank you.
Cats have also got to stay patient here. They could get frustrated in a hurry. They've got to wait for the turnover, wait for the break, and then take advantage of it. They cannot concede a goal. Schneider, clever. Wojcinski courageously running against the flow. Milburn, that strong body. To Ling. Back to Hunt. Back to Lonigan. To Selwood inside. Quick release was good. To West. Had a bit of a fumble, but he got it to Johnson. Johnson looks up. Has to go long to 50. Saints with numbers. Gwilt, so good. Overran it. Podsiadly. Well done, Geary. Belting forward. Geelong have got all the numbers back there. Now Milburn. They set up again to Ling. Just haven't been able to get the ball into the forward 50. Now they will, you would think. Podsiadly out wide.
Patel's come on and looking to swing round and get the slider goal. Goddard very quick to pick up on that one.
20 metres from the goal, Fisher. No impact Mooney tonight.
No, that certainly hasn't been the night for the tall forwards. Neither side's tall forwards have really looked like having impact on the game. But just at the moment, St Kilda is just in control, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, the Geelong are getting the footy, but just not looking like really threatening in their forward 50.
One of the key stats looking into the game was Geelong so devastating when they get their opposition to commit a turnover, get the scoreboard pressure and scoreboard attacks. St Kilda, conversely, are the best at actually defending their own turnovers.
Gee, Peake's kick didn't have a lot on it, but it did finally get to Dempster. Then back to Peake. Decision-making so important here. He decides to go long and high to a contest. Blake, Ablett, this is a good situation now for Geelong. Ablett shrugs a man off. Johnson from 50. It goes to full forward. Fisher's been very good. Bartel hasn't quite got hold of it. Fisher, Bartel, Goddard. Ball not coming out.
often used to say to players, when you're watching the television screen, you want more of your jumpers in the screen. And St Kilda all night seem to have more jumpers close to the contest where they need to be.
Gamble looking for a free. Hacked out. Gardner off the ground. Didn't get it very far. Little handball by Schneider. Del Santo and Bartel.
States the obvious. You need a goal. Look for players like Selwood. Bartel's in around Burns. Is that currently unmanned? Milne covering both Selwood and Burns at the moment.
So Bartel third man up. So effective in that. Here's Selwood. Was he legged? I think he was.
Coming by the leg. Hey, let me do it. Thanks. Here it is. And back a metre.
Has he got the length? He's going to have to kick it 50 plus.
You wouldn't think so, would you?
Distinctly different styles here. All the St Kilda forwards right in amongst into their defensive half at the moment. Just trying to get that outnumber.
Pozziadli to Varco. Great tackle. Dempster got it back. That tackle from Geary was a beauty. And then Goddard's kick. Stanley and Lonigan back to Enright. To Mackie to load up. 70 metres out. Torpedo punt. They need a mark. Gardner belts it through from behind. They get within 3 kicks, but it's a good result again for the Saints.
One of the things that Geelong just do well week after week is actually mark the ball inside 50. That ability to find players inside 50 with a bit of space. But not tonight. They just can't find a target in there. The longer the game's gone on, the more it's happened. But St Kilda's defensive structure's been really good.
I think they average 18 marks inside 50, number one in the competition, the Cats.
And St Kilda only concede 10 of those. So it's I mean, it's been, I guess...
defence first attack.
It has. It's been spoken about all week. Conditions probably play into the hands of the more defensive side.
Irresistible force against the immovable object a bit, isn't it? Cats.
Well, there's an old adage that offence sells memberships and defence wins premierships. Cats have been pretty good at defence over the time too.
They're number 3 in defence this year, number 1 in attack. And no guessing who's number 1 in defence again this year. The team they're playing tonight. Johnson forward, Gilbert underneath, Mooney and Pozziadli crashing in hard.
Probably that ability to defend in the air that Geelong back group means sort of reading the ball off the boot a little bit. That's probably got them into trouble now because there's the ground level forward Schneider and Stevens have just used that space. Got on the end of half a dozen.
Hayes getting it out only as far as Hunt. That's Taylor Hunt now. Mackie. This flank they attacked pretty well in the second quarter, the Cats, didn't they? Johnson tries to look it back. Dempster did very, very well on hands and knees. Good result. Schneider's kick's a beauty. Well, Jack Stephen, they'll be talking about him in the morning. It's his 4th game. His 3rd this year. He played 1 last year against Carlton. He played against the Western Bulldogs earlier this year in round 6 and then Carlton in round 7. Back in tonight. In many ways, he's been a match winner because he kicked the goals when they needed someone to find them in that 3rd quarter. Gilbert's kick, good mark. Taylor.
Yeah, Schneider early and Stephen in the 3rd quarter. Those half a dozen goals, or there's 7 goals between them, have just been incredibly important, haven't they?
Ling did well there. Selwood's handball. Under pressure, gets it back in heavy traffic. Brilliant to Mackie. Mackie's kick is a chance. No.
What was good about that from a Geelong point of view is they took some chances. They flicked the ball around. Not necessarily pretty, but at least made the St Kilda players and the defenders try to anticipate where the ball was going to go. And put some unpredictability in it, which in a strange sort of way makes it predictable for the Geelong forwards.
And again, it was Selwood creating one just through his effort. McWalter. Well, we haven't had a goal scored in the final term, and the Cats need 3.
And when was the last time Geelong didn't score a goal in the second half, Mac? I'll give you about 30 seconds and you'll know it by then.
What was the question, Lee?
How long since Geelong haven't scored a goal in the second half?
Well, I'll give you that answer in a minute.
Okay.
I was just thinking, I'll tell you what I was thinking a moment ago. Jones forward, free kick.
It was actually 2001 round 22 against the Blues.
Oh, there you go. Tom's got all the... Here's... McAvoy. I was thinking of the Western Bulldogs and St Kilda that night when the Saints were in this position.
Yeah.
Seemingly no chance at all late, but McAvoy's kick wide. Mackie cuts it off. But that wasn't a damp ground and heavy going, was it? Out wide again. But it was very low scoring, and it was against the flow. Milburn to Hunt. Backs himself. Taylor Hunt. Oh, terrible kick. Under pressure. Lonergan and McAvoy. Ling has to go and search for it against the flow. Back to young Hunt. To Selwood. Well, that looked high again, but he took Peake on, and Peake did a good job. Again, Selwood trying to belt the ball out.
As when Geelong were coming out of the back flank there, they wanted to go through the centre square, but Brett Peake had dropped off into space. He was right in the middle of the centre square. So St Kilda, I think, have been really adept at not allowing Geelong to attack through there.
Great shot of the two champs there. Scarlett and Ablett sitting it out.
Mooney in the background, some big games. Perhaps they're just big game players, I should say. Giving them a bit of a rest, spark them up for this last 5 minutes. Certainly not out of it. Just need to get the turnover, get it in, get it quick, and have another shot at it.
Well, one goal to the Cats makes all the difference. They've just got to find that goal.
Yep.
We know that any goal to St Kilda makes it all over. Montagna looked up. Well, this would be fitting.
And I think really St Kilda have actually looked like scoring more than Geelong are when they go forward, and that sort of just emphasised that totally.
Bartell's in great pain here.
The thumb or wrist or arm.
Well, Stephen Milne lines up and misses from about 35 to 40 metres out.
It's going to be the stop plays, the set plays, the best chance for Geelong. They've got a point to kick in here. They've got to attack the ball. We see Bartell here.
Oh, gee. That might be nasty.
Yeah, that looks nasty.
So he's off for Ablett. Have they got a roll of the dice left? Doubtful, isn't it? Gardner's mark. It's been good again tonight, Gardner, hasn't
Yeah,
he?
he has been.
Start of the game well, handled the wet conditions exceptionally well for a big man.
Who's won the midfield battle, Lee, do you reckon? I mean, Selwood's had so much, but collectively the Saints have been good, haven't they?
Well, they have been. I mean, I think the tackling pressure of St Kilda, it's not something, in the ball winning, it hasn't been that much difference between the sides, but I think particularly this second half, St Kilda's defensive pressure to really lay the tackle.
Defensive structure, I too think, Lee. They've just had that gridlock from half back.
Gardner floats it to 20 metres. Blake decides to belt. It's effective. Johnson in the back half. Saints will like that. Milburn. Selwood, very short. Stokes. Burns. Promising build-up through the centre. Selwood had to fetch it a bit. Wide to Gamble. Might need to take one right now. Didn't. Kicked the ball short. Geary kept his feet. Gilbert fends off. Great tackle by Gamble. Geary, well done. To Blake. They've answered all the questions, haven't they? McWalter to Peake. High ball to centre wing. Milne setting himself. Lonergan at the back. Didn't take the mark. Handball to Hunt. To Ablett. To Wajinski. He can run and carry. Decides to go very long. 1-on-1. Milburn getting down there with Fisher. Grilton Burns. See, they play well in the back half. They've been terrific. Fisher. Del Santo, Montagna. Milne almost with him in right. The 244s, and off the ground Montagna, Blake, Schneider, and it'll be a ball up.
What do you take out of the game, Lee?
Oh, I think we take out of the game even double underline that St Kilda is still going to be Geelong's main challenger. Get Rewald back fit and well. It's like we finished last year, two really good sides.
Straight to him. Thanks, Cam. Where you are?
So Hayes, another very good game.
Yours.
In right work to the front. Wajinski. Oh, fumble. McWalter. Schneider's kick 4, low, not quite coming back.
You know, the other good thing it does, I think it breathes life into the competition. It just looks so much like Geelong just had too much wherewithal to who was going to be able to challenge them. Obviously, Hawthorn got up there in 2008 and beat them. St Kilda were right on them last year. So St Kilda was certainly going to be up there.
They won by 6 goals tonight. It'll be more about who's second best for the rest of the season until the finals.
Well, St Kilda didn't need to win tonight to really challenge for the flag, but I think from that sort of mental side, and Brendan Goddard spoke during the week about how much the loss in the last year's grand final hurt. Some of those players have dug really deep tonight, and they'll put this one in the bank, no doubt about it.
I think the other thing, they've played 3 times in the last 2 years, and all of them, I mean,
been
tonight,
real contests. I mean, yes, St Kilda looked like they might get home, but they've been terrific contests. 2 really good teams.
And you just, well, going into this match, Lee, in the last 37 matches over those 2 years, both these teams have won 31 and lost 6.
And
Now, Geelong still haven't scored a goal in the second half.
Well, they've scored 3.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Well, Tom gave the stat 2001. They've scored 3 points in the second half. You've got to go back to 1956 since they've scored such a small amount on the scoreboard in the second half of a footy game.
Yeah.
That was when the Olympics were here in
Amazing.
Melbourne. I mean, they've still got a minute to do something, but a bit unlikely the way things have been going. Burns to Stokes, and then Stokes short. A good chance here to do something on the board at least. Milburn stopping, propping, uncertain. Wants Burns, gets him, drops the mark. Well, 1956 is looking better and better suddenly. Honestly, Lee, at half-time when they led 6-7 to 4-3.
You didn't see this coming, did you? No. No doubt about that. I mean, they weren't a long way ahead, but St Kilda just didn't look like they had any avenues to goal. But, Steve, one player bobbed up, 3 loose balls, 3 goals. That's been the game.
So Schneider. Back he goes to Geary. Short to McAvoy. So short inside the 50, Jack Stephen. Well, he's been a revelation tonight. Montagna maybe to finish the match off in terms of the Saints. Milner try and run on. He did. He's gone. Ball up.
You knew what he tried to do, but he just slipped, didn't he?
Free kick to you.
Oh, it's a free kick against Josh Hunt for verbal abuse. And Milne runs on and kicks the goal.
Come here and I'll talk to you. Come here and I'll talk to you. Ready?
Well, there's been a bit of a theme tonight, hasn't it? I mean, the 50 metres, the back chatting.
Yeah. Opportunity, which is about 2 or 3 steps. Okay, he's still got to have a prior opportunity. Yeah, I know, but he's still got to have a prior opportunity.
Let's have a look at this. He tried to play on. Yeah, normally he's going to get pinged for that, but I'm quite happy. I like the ball play getting leniency, so I'm very happy with that umpiring decision.
Well, Brad Johnson's good, Lee. He said 10 goals would be a winning score. Actually, 7 would have been, but that's exactly where the Saints have got to. What a remarkable night, a revealing night at the MCG. And the season takes a big turn when the Saints win by 4 goals against the Cats.